Welcome to Ultimate Sleep Doctor. Tonight, we'll explore a place of extraordinary wonder. Deep within South America lies the Amazon Rainforest, a realm brimming with secrets, a symphony of life unlike any other on Earth. It's a place where ancient trees reach for the sky, and the air hums with the calls of countless creatures. Scientists call it one of the most biodiverse ecosystems in the world, a living laboratory of evolution. Consider the immense patience of nature, the quiet strength of growth. There's a certain harmony in this wildness, a reminder of our connection to the natural world. We hope you'll find a peaceful space with us as we delve into the science of this incredible place. Please, subscribe and share this channel with anyone seeking a moment of calm and discovery. Let's begin. Just breathe and let your thoughts drift like the mist rising from the river. Long, long ago, before there were humans, before even the dinosaurs had faded from the earth, the story of the Amazon rainforest began with the slow, steady movements of the continents. The land we know as South America wasn't always there. It started as part of a massive supercontinent called Gondwana, a place where Africa, South America, Antarctica, Australia, and even the southern tip of India were all connected like pieces of a gigantic jigsaw puzzle. Gondwana was a very different world, a cold, icy place dominated by glaciers and vast, shallow seas. The Andes Mountains, which now soar dramatically along the western coast of South America, weren't mountains at all. They were simply the edges of this ancient coastline, pushed upwards by the immense forces of the continent's formation. As Gondwana began to break apart, driven by the shifting of the Earth's tectonic plates, those enormous, rocky shells beneath our feet, the landmasses slowly drifted away. This separation wasn't a sudden event, but a process unfolding over hundreds of millions of years. Around 180 million years ago, the South America-Africa breakup began, and the Atlantic Ocean started to widen, creating a deep oceanic trench where the two continents once met. This initial rifting created a shallow basin, a large, almost perfectly circular depression, right where the Amazon rainforest would eventually flourish. This basin wasn't filled with water immediately. Instead, it was a landscape of ancient sediments, sand, mud, and shells deposited by rivers that flowed from the rising Andes. The early rivers of the Amazon basin were profoundly shaped by the ongoing tectonic activity. The movement of the tectonic plates wasn't just about drifting continents. It also involved intense folding, faulting, and uplift. The rising Andes Mountains, for instance, were not simply static structures. They were actively thrust upwards, creating a barrier that dramatically influenced the flow of water across the basin. This uplift resulted in a complex network of valleys and canyons, sculpted by the relentless force of water. The initial rivers, fed by meltwater from the nascent Andes, were powerful, braided rivers, meaning they consisted of multiple, interconnected channels that split and rejoined like a tangled braid. These braided rivers were incredibly efficient at transporting vast amounts of sediment, constantly scouring the landscape and reshaping the valley floors. The sediments carried by these rivers were remarkably diverse. They included quartz, a hard, glassy mineral that's incredibly durable, and feldspar, another common mineral found in rocks. These minerals, along with fragments of volcanic rock, created a rich, fertile ground, although, in the early days, it was buried under layers of more sediment. As the uplift of the Andes continued, the rivers became steeper, their flow faster and more concentrated. This resulted in the formation of deep canyons and gorges, some of which still exist today, like the Grand Canyon of the Amazon, though much younger and smaller than its Arizona counterpart. The climate during this period was also markedly different from today. While it wasn't the scorching, humid climate we associate with the rainforest, it was warmer and generally drier than it is now. The lack of a strong, stable atmosphere, which developed over millions of years, meant that temperatures were more extreme, with hotter days and cooler nights. The rainfall patterns were also less predictable, with occasional, intense storms punctuated by long periods of drought. These fluctuating conditions played a crucial role in shaping the landscape and influencing the types of plants and animals that could survive. Over countless millennia, the rivers continued to erode the surrounding highlands, carrying their sediment towards the central basin. The sediment wasn't simply dumped, it was meticulously sorted by the river's current. Heavier particles like sand and gravel settled closer to the channel, while lighter particles, such as clay and silt, were carried further out, creating layers of fertile soil. This layering process is still visible today, revealing the geological history of the basin in exposed rock formations. The formation of the initial rivers wasn't just a random occurrence. It was a carefully orchestrated process driven by the fundamental forces shaping the Earth. The ongoing movement of the tectonic plates, the uplift of the Andes, and the fluctuating climate all contributed to the creation of the vast drainage basin that would eventually become the Amazon. These ancient rivers, the predecessors of the mighty Amazon, established the foundation upon which the rainforest, one of the most biodiverse places on Earth, would eventually thrive. The journey from a cold, icy continent to a lush, teeming rainforest is a story written in the rocks, a testament to the enduring power of geological time. The forest floor, a dark and humid realm, is just the very bottom of an astonishing story. Beneath the towering trees, and often intertwined amongst their branches, exists a world of incredible complexity, a world built not by growing ass down from the earth, but by reaching up. This is the realm of the epiphytes, plants that have evolved a remarkable strategy for survival within the Amazon rainforest, a strategy centered around utilizing the trees themselves as their support system. These aren't parasitic plants, clinging to the trees for sustenance. Instead, they've forged a beautiful, mutually beneficial relationship, and their presence dramatically shapes the forest's structure and ecology. Perhaps the most dazzling members of this aerial community are the orchids. There are literally thousands of orchid species within the Amazon, each uniquely adapted to its particular niche amongst the canopy. Many orchids, particularly the Teresios tree orchids, begin their lives as tiny seeds, often dispersed by animals or even by wind. Once a seed lands on a suitable branch, it sends down a single, tentative root, not seeking nourishment from the tree, but simply anchoring itself. These roots, delicate and almost translucent, quickly establish themselves, growing around the branch, absorbing moisture and nutrients directly from the air and rainfall. The vibrant blooms of orchids, ranging from the velvety dark purples of Cattleya to the striking yellows and reds of Oncidium, are a testament to their success. They rely on specialized pollinators, bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, drawn to their brilliant colors and sweet fragrances, further cementing their role in the forest's intricate web of life. Some orchids even have specialized structures, like pouches or wings, to aid in pollination, showcasing the incredible evolutionary adaptations found within this group. Then there are the bromeliads, a diverse family of plants including tank bromeliads, quill bromeliads, and many others. Many of these plants, most famously the Diastilangia species, are particularly fascinating. Unlike orchids that firmly attach to branches, many bromeliads, such as the air plants, don't have roots at all. They create miniature reservoirs, tanks by interlocking their leaf bases. These tanks act like tiny sponges, collecting rainwater, dew, and even the infrequent rainfall that reaches the canopy. The water within these tanks provides a vital source of hydration for the plant, and it also creates a humid microclimate. More remarkably, these tanks serve as habitats for a whole host of other creatures. Tiny frogs, insects, snails, and even very small lizards find refuge within these pools of water, creating miniature ecosystems within the larger rainforest. The leaves of the bromeliad themselves contribute to this complex environment, providing surfaces for algae and microorganisms to grow, forming the base of a simple food web. The canopy itself is profoundly shaped by the presence of these epiphytes. As orchids and bromeliads grow, they create additional branches and platforms within the existing tree structure. This effectively increases the surface area available for life, for other plants to grow, for animals to inhabit, for the entire forest to thrive. It's like adding extra rooms to a house, but instead of bricks and mortar, these rooms are built from leaves, roots, and water. The density of epiphytes varies across the Amazon, with areas experiencing higher rainfall and sunlight often supporting a greater abundance and diversity. This creates distinct layering within the canopy, with different zones of light and humidity, each supporting a unique set of species. The growth of epiphytes also influences the trees they inhabit. The weight of accumulated water and organic matter, leaf litter, decaying wood, accumulated rainwater, can stimulate the trees to grow thicker, stronger branches to support their growing guests. In some cases, the roots of the trees themselves are intertwined with the roots of the epiphytes, creating a complex network of intertwined roots that strengthens the entire structure. It's a symbiotic dance, a constant exchange of resources and support. The sheer volume of organic material produced by epiphytes is astonishing. Decaying leaves and stems contribute significantly to the forest floor, providing a vital source of nutrients for the soil and fueling the growth of other plants. This decomposition process is accelerated by the humid conditions created by the epiphytes, speeding up the cycling of nutrients within the rainforest ecosystem. It's a continuous loop of life and death, supported by the ingenuity of these remarkable plants. Furthermore, the canopy created by epiphytes plays a critical role in regulating the forest's climate. The leaves intercept sunlight, reducing the amount of direct radiation reaching the forest floor, which helps to maintain a cooler, more humid environment. They also contribute to the overall moisture content of the air, influencing rainfall patterns within the basin. The evolutionary story of epiphytes within the Amazon is one of adaptation and collaboration. Over millions of years, these plants have developed intricate strategies to thrive in this unique environment, transforming the rainforest into the complex, vibrant, and remarkably diverse ecosystem we know today. It's a testament to the power of nature's creativity, a silent, beautiful story unfolding amongst the towering trees, a story written in leaves, roots, and the brilliant colors of the orchids and bromeliads that call the Amazon canopy home. The forest floor of the Amazon isn't a place of silent, accumulated decay, as you might find in temperate woodlands. It's a place of furious, almost dizzying activity, a whirling dance of life and death where nutrients are constantly snatched up, transformed, and released with astonishing speed. This isn't about centuries or millennia. It's about a turnover time scale measured in weeks, sometimes days. The key to understanding this remarkable phenomenon lies in the incredibly rapid decomposition of organic matter, fueled by a unique combination of heat, humidity, and a vast army of microscopic organisms. The Amazon soils, particularly the oxisols and ultisols that dominate the region, are notoriously poor. They're essentially weathered material, ancient sandstone and shale, with very little inherent fertility. There's a surprising lack of true mineral content. The intense leaching caused by the constant rainfall has washed away nearly everything. Yet, despite this lack of initial richness, the forest thrives. This is entirely because the nutrients aren't stored in the soil in the way you might expect. Instead, they're perpetually being recycled through an incredibly efficient system, a closed loop driven by decomposition. Consider the leaf litter, a continuous rain of decaying plant material that blankets the forest floor. Unlike a forest where leaves might take years to break down, in the Amazon, the process begins almost immediately. The high temperatures, averaging around 28 degrees C 82 degrees year-round, accelerate enzymatic reactions, vastly speeding up the decomposition process. This warmth, combined with the almost constant humidity, rarely dipping below 80%, creates an ideal environment for an extraordinary community of microbes. Bacteria, fungi, and even archaea, single-celled organisms that thrive in extreme environments, work tirelessly, breaking down complex organic compounds into simpler forms. These microbes don't just passively break down cellulose and lignin, the tough structural components of plant cells. They actively consume these materials, transforming them into usable nutrients. For example, bacteria are particularly adept at converting lignin into humus, a stable, dark, colored organic matter that acts as a sort of sponge, holding on to nutrients and contributing to soil structure. But the most significant transformations occur with nitrogen. The Amazon's nitrogen cycle is exceptionally active. Plants, of course, need nitrogen to build proteins and chlorophyll, but they don't hold on to it. Instead, bacteria, notably those belonging to the rhizobial genus, form symbiotic relationships with the roots of many tree species, such as the Brazil nut and the rubber tree. These bacteria fix atmospheric nitrogen gas, which is unusable by plants, into ammonia, a form that plants can readily absorb. However, the cycle doesn't end with plant uptake. Animals, insects, and fungi also contribute to the nitrogen cycle. Earthworms, for instance, ingest decaying leaf litter, and through their digestive processes, transform some of the nitrogen back into ammonia, which is then released into the surrounding environment. Similarly, insects that feed on leaf litter and fungi also contribute to the breakdown and release of nitrogen. The constant feeding and excretion of these organisms further fuels the microbial activity, creating a positive feedback loop. The rapid decomposition isn't just about nitrogen. Phosphorus, potassium, and other essential nutrients are also constantly cycled. Microbes play a crucial role in releasing phosphorus from organic matter, and fungi are particularly effective at mobilizing potassium. The sheer volume of material being broken down, the almost continuous rain of leaf litter, the fallen branches, the decaying animals provides a constant supply of nutrients for the microbes, which in turn drive the decomposition process. A fascinating aspect of this system is the role of pulse events. These are periods of intense activity triggered by significant disturbances, such as a large tree fall. A single fallen tree can create a localized pulse of nutrients. The decaying wood becomes a feast for microbes, dramatically increasing decomposition rates and releasing a surge of nutrients into the surrounding environment. This pulse can stimulate growth in nearby plants, creating a temporary hotspot of biological activity. The dense canopy of the Amazon plays a subtle but important role in this rapid cycling. The high levels of rainfall and humidity are a direct result of the forest structure. The leaves intercept rainfall, reducing evaporation, and the forest's size creates a self-regulating system. This, in turn, fuels the decomposition process. It's a beautifully interconnected web of interactions, a symphony of life orchestrated by heat, moisture, and the tireless work of microorganisms. The Amazon soil isn't a place of storage, it's a dynamic engine, a place where life and death are inextricably linked, where nutrients are not lost but continuously transformed and released. This rapid turnover ensures that the forest's incredible productivity, its capacity to generate biomass, is sustained, demonstrating that the true heart of the Amazon's ecosystem lies not in its soil, but in the remarkable, ever-active community that surrounds it. Beneath the dense, emerald ceiling of the Amazon rainforest, a silent, astonishing world unfolds. It's a world rarely seen, a hidden city of intricate connections, built not of brick and mortar, but of mycelium, the thread-like structures of fungi. While we typically think of mushrooms as the visible face of these organisms, the true architecture of the rainforest floor lies entirely beneath our feet, in a vast network more extensive than any human-made road system. This isn't simply a collection of individual fungi. It's a colossal, interwoven network, a wood wide web, as some scientists have playfully termed it. The rainforest floor is a surprisingly dark and humid place, a constant struggle for resources. Fallen leaves, decaying branches, and the remains of countless animals provide a rich buffet for decomposers, but the process is incredibly slow. Traditional soil, as we often understand it, plays a dramatically reduced role here. Instead, fungi become the dominant force in breaking down organic matter, but their impact goes far beyond simple decomposition. They're essentially the primary recyclers, transforming complex plant tissues into simpler compounds, releasing nutrients back into the environment in a way that's remarkably efficient. The mycelial network itself is built by countless individual hyphae, incredibly thin filaments that grow outwards, branching like delicate, white roots. These hyphae explore, seeking out resources, sugars, nitrogen, phosphorus, drawn from dead plant material and, crucially, from the roots of the trees above. This isn't parasitic, it's a mutually beneficial relationship. The fungi receive a constant supply of carbohydrates produced by the trees through photosynthesis, a process known as the wood-wide web connection. In return, the fungi provide the trees with access to essential nutrients that are locked up in the soil, accelerating the tree's growth and improving its overall health. But the network's role extends far beyond this simple exchange. Scientists have discovered that these fungal connections allow trees to communicate with each other, sending warning signals about impending dangers, such as insect attacks or drought. When a tree is attacked by herbivores, for instance, it can release chemical signals through the fungal network, alerting neighboring trees to bolster their defenses, thickening their bark, producing defensive compounds, or even triggering the growth of thorns. This rapid communication dramatically increases the rainforest's resilience, allowing it to respond quickly to threats. The complexity of the network is truly staggering. Researchers have mapped connections between hundreds of trees in a single area, revealing intricate pathways of communication. Some of these connections are short and direct, facilitating immediate responses. Others are longer and more circuitous, suggesting a broader, more distributed system of information exchange. Remarkably, the network appears to learn over time, becoming more efficient at transmitting signals and responding to challenges. Furthermore, the fungal network isn't just connecting trees. It's also linked to the roots of other plants, including ferns, shrubs, and even grasses. This creates a complex web of interactions where nutrients and information flow not just between trees, but throughout the entire plant community. Some scientists believe that this interconnectedness is essential for maintaining the rainforest's incredible biodiversity. The network provides a safety net for vulnerable species, ensuring that they have access to the resources they need to survive, even in challenging conditions. The types of fungi involved are equally diverse, reflecting the incredible variety of the rainforest environment. Some fungi are specialists, adapted to breaking down specific types of plant material. Others are generalists, capable of utilizing a wider range of resources. Certain fungi even play a role in nutrient cycling by converting nitrogen, a key ingredient for plant growth, from atmospheric sources into a form that plants can absorb. Recent research has revealed that the fungal network isn't just passive. It actively shapes the landscape. The hyphae physically alter the soil structure, binding particles together and creating a more stable environment. This, in turn, influences water flow, erosion patterns, and the overall health of the forest floor. The network's influence extends upwards, impacting the growth and development of the trees above. As the rainforest continues to face increasing threats from deforestation and climate change, the importance of understanding this hidden network becomes ever more critical. Protecting the trees above is undoubtedly vital, but safeguarding the intricate connections beneath our feet is equally essential for ensuring the long-term health and resilience of this extraordinary ecosystem. The Wood Wide Web is not just a fascinating scientific discovery, it's a fundamental component of the Amazon rainforest survival, a silent testament to the interconnectedness of life and the profound wisdom hidden within the soil. The heart of the Amazon, a place brimming with secrets, isn't just about the towering trees or the vibrant colors of its inhabitants. Deep within the shadows, where sunlight barely penetrates, a truly remarkable story unfolds, the story of the jaguar. For millions of years, these magnificent cats have shaped the rainforest's dynamics, their evolution intricately linked to the success and survival of countless other creatures. The jaguar's journey began long before humans ever set foot in this vast expanse, a tale of adaptation and specialized predation. The ancestors of modern jaguars emerged from a lineage of big cats that thrived across North America and South America during the Pleistocene epoch. As the climate shifted and the Ice Age receded, these early jaguars gradually migrated southward, drawn by the warmer, wetter conditions of the Amazon basin. It wasn't a sudden arrival, it was a slow, patient process, each generation subtly better suited to the increasingly dense, humid environment. One key adaptation was their powerfully built bodies, evolved for short bursts of incredible speed, a crucial advantage in the thick undergrowth. But it wasn't just about raw power. The jaguar's evolutionary trajectory also emphasized a unique hunting style, unlike that of other big cats like lions or leopards. Unlike their spotted cousins, who often rely on stealth and ambushing prey from elevated positions, the jaguar is a spotter-killer. This behavior is deeply rooted in its physical characteristics. The jaguar's shorter legs and stockier build, coupled with its relatively small ears, give it exceptional hearing. This heightened auditory sense allows it to pinpoint the location of its prey, primarily capybaras, peccaries, anacondas, and caimans with remarkable accuracy, even through dense vegetation. It's a strategy of precise targeting, rather than simply relying on a surprise attack. The jaguar moves with a fluid, almost liquid grace, silently stalking its quarry before unleashing a devastating bite to the head or neck, often instantly killing its victim. The behavior of jaguar populations isn't simply about individual hunting strategies. It's also shaped by complex social dynamics. Jaguars are largely solitary animals, except during the breeding season. Males, in particular, engage in fierce territorial battles to establish dominance and secure access to females. These contests, sometimes lasting for hours, involve spectacular displays of strength and agility. Clawing, biting, and rolling on the ground, a breathtaking demonstration of raw power. The victor earns the right to mate with the females within that territory. The females, fiercely protective of their cubs, will aggressively defend them against any perceived threats, demonstrating a powerful maternal instinct. The impact of jaguars on the Amazonian ecosystem is profound. Their role as apex predators regulates the populations of their prey, preventing any single species from becoming overly dominant. This, in turn, influences the structure of the entire food web. For instance, by controlling capybara populations, jaguars indirectly affect the growth of aquatic vegetation, as capybaras graze on the banks of rivers and lakes. Similarly, their predation on anacondas prevents the snakes from expanding their range too far, maintaining a balance within the water systems. It's a delicate dance, a constant negotiation between predator and prey, a relationship honed over millennia. Interestingly, research into jaguar behavior has revealed remarkable intelligence. They demonstrate problem-solving skills when hunting, using tools, rocks, or branches to access prey that might otherwise be unreachable. They've even been observed to play, engaging in behaviors that appear to serve no immediate survival purpose, suggesting a level of cognitive complexity that continues to surprise scientists. Their ability to adapt and learn is a testament to their evolutionary success. Furthermore, the distribution of jaguar populations isn't random. They tend to concentrate in areas with abundant prey and suitable habitat, dense forests with a high density of waterways. These areas are often characterized by a complex mosaic of forest types, each supporting a unique array of prey species. This patchy distribution highlights the jaguar's reliance on ecological diversity and the importance of maintaining healthy, intact rainforest ecosystems. Recent studies are also focusing on the impact of habitat loss and fragmentation on jaguar populations. As the Amazon rainforest continues to be cleared for agriculture, logging, and mining, jaguars are losing their homes and their access to prey. This has led to a decline in jaguar numbers and an increased risk of extinction. Understanding the factors that are driving this decline is crucial for developing effective conservation strategies. Protecting remaining jaguar populations requires not just safeguarding their habitat, but also addressing the underlying drivers of deforestation. The jaguar's story is one of remarkable resilience and adaptation, a powerful symbol of the Amazon's wildness and biodiversity. It's a story that underscores the interconnectedness of all living things and the vital role that predators play in maintaining healthy, thriving ecosystems. As you drift off to sleep, remember the jaguar, a silent hunter, a powerful force, and a crucial component of this extraordinary corner of our planet. The heart of the Amazon rainforest is a place of incredible complexity, a bustling city of life orchestrated by a delicate balance. And one particular tree species, the Brazil nut S. Bertholletia excelsa, plays a truly remarkable role in maintaining that balance, acting as a central figure in the rainforest regeneration and a key link in a fascinating network of interactions. These giants, with their towering stature and the precious nuts they produce, aren't just a source of food for humans. They are vital architects of the forest itself. The Brazil nut tree is a patient giant, taking upwards of 50 years to reach maturity, a period during which it relies almost entirely on a single, brilliant strategy for survival and propagation: seed dispersal by animals. Unlike many trees that rely on the wind to carry their seeds, the Brazil nut tree has evolved a partnership with a very specific group of animals, primarily macaws and agoutis, that guarantees its offspring will find a safe and suitable place to begin their own lives. The process begins with the nuts themselves. They aren't released from the tree in a typical way. Instead, they mature within large, woody capsules that resemble coconuts. These capsules don't simply fall open. They remain tightly closed until they've fully ripened, a process that can take months. The key to this persistence lies in the presence of an agouti, a small rodent-like mammal known for its prominent white, tipped tail. Agoutis have a particular fondness for the oily seeds inside the capsules. However, they're also remarkably clever. They use their nimble paws to painstakingly gnaw open the capsules, and crucially, they don't eat all the seeds. Instead, they carefully select a portion, typically around 15 to 20 seeds, and bury them in the soil. This burying behavior is incredibly important. The agouti, while an opportunistic feeder, is also a significant agent of natural regeneration. The buried seeds, insulated from the heat and drying effects of the forest floor, have a much higher chance of germination than seeds that remain exposed. It's a beautifully simple, yet incredibly effective method of ensuring future generations of Brazil nut trees. But the story doesn't end with the agouti. The macaws, particularly the blue and gold macaw, also play a vital role. After the agoutis have buried their seeds, the macaws will often discover these hidden caches. They don't consume the seeds themselves, but they carefully take them and carry them long distances, sometimes up to several kilometers, before discarding them in a new location. This long-distance dispersal is absolutely critical. The Amazon rainforest is a vast and varied landscape, and relying solely on agoutis would simply not allow for the establishment of new Brazil nut trees across the whole range of suitable habitat. The macaws aren't just randomly dropping seeds. They seem to have an instinctive sense for choosing favorable locations, areas with adequate sunlight, moisture, and proximity to other Brazil nut trees. This strategic placement, combined with the initial protection offered by the agoutis, dramatically increases the survival rate of the new seedlings. Furthermore, the macaw's foraging behavior also helps to break up seed clumps, preventing the over-concentration of trees in one area, which would make the entire population vulnerable to disease or environmental changes. The regeneration process isn't just about individual trees. The presence of Brazil nut trees dramatically alters the forest floor environment. Their massive size provides shade, creating a cooler, moister microclimate that benefits a multitude of other plant species. The litter of fallen leaves and branches around the bases of the trees decomposes slowly, enriching the soil with nutrients, a process that builds upon the rapid nutrient cycling described in earlier parts of this story. The network of fungal hyphae, those intricate threads beneath the forest floor, also flourish in the shade and moisture provided by the trees, further contributing to decomposition and nutrient availability. The Brazil nut tree's impact also extends to the animals that depend on it. The trees provide nesting sites for numerous bird species, and the fruits and seeds themselves are a vital food source for monkeys, rodents, and other animals. It's a complex, interconnected web of life, where the Brazil nut tree is not just a participant, but a foundational element. However, this delicate balance is increasingly threatened. Deforestation, driven by agriculture and logging, is fragmenting the rainforest and disrupting the animal populations that rely on the Brazil nut tree. As habitat disappears, the agoutis and macaws struggle to find sufficient food and suitable nesting sites, reducing their effectiveness as seed dispersers. This, in turn, slows down the regeneration of the Brazil nut population and diminishes the tree's capacity to maintain the health and diversity of the Amazon rainforest. The future of these magnificent trees, and, indeed, the future of the rainforest itself, depends on our ability to protect and restore this invaluable ecosystem. Deep within the flooded forests of the Amazon, a world exists far removed from the dappled sunlight of the upland canopy. Here, amidst the tannin-stained waters and dense mats of vegetation, dwells a creature of truly colossal proportions, the Victoria amazonica, the giant water lily. It's a plant that commands attention, not just for its size, but for the intricate relationships it holds within the rainforest's heart. These magnificent lilies are often described as floating islands, and that description barely scratches the surface of their remarkable existence. The Victoria amazonica isn't just large, it's staggeringly so. The pads, the broad, flat leaves that form the lily's foundation, can reach diameters of over 3 meters. That's roughly the size of a small car. The largest recorded specimen, discovered in the Rio Negro, measured a breathtaking 3.6 meters across. These aren't delicate, fragile leaves. They're remarkably strong, capable of supporting the weight of a small child, or even a hefty backpack, thanks to a unique internal structure. The pads are composed of multiple layers of tightly packed cells, creating a honeycomb-like pattern that provides exceptional rigidity and buoyancy. This cellular arrangement is filled with air, contributing significantly to the lily's ability to float effortlessly on the water's surface. The color is a striking, almost iridescent jade green, a hue intensified by the reflections of the sun filtering through the canopy. But the size is only one part of the story. The ecology of the Victoria Amazonica is intimately tied to the surrounding environment. These lilies thrive in the dark, nutrient-poor waters of the Blackwater rivers, rivers stained dark brown by tannins leached from decaying vegetation. This low, light environment has driven the evolution of unique adaptations. The lily's leaves are typically a dark, almost black, color, maximizing their ability to capture the scarce sunlight. Furthermore, the pads secrete a mucilaginous substance, a sticky, gelatinous fluid that traps small aquatic organisms, insects, larvae, and even tiny crustaceans. This mucilage trap is a crucial part of the lily's diet, providing it with supplemental nutrients. The lily doesn't actively hunt. Instead, it relies on this passive method of feeding, showcasing a fascinating example of evolutionary convergence. A similar feeding strategy is found in pitcher plants elsewhere in the world. The lily's life cycle is as captivating as its appearance. The plant begins with a submerged bulb, which sends up a tall, slender stem bearing the characteristic pads. These pads develop through a process of budding, where smaller clones emerge from the edges of the parent leaf. This vegetative reproduction ensures the lily's expansion, allowing populations to rapidly colonize suitable areas. The lily's reproductive phase involves the production of fragrant, white flowers, which, unlike the pads, are entirely submerged. These flowers release pollen into the water, relying on water currents to carry it to other plants. Seeds, small and black, are dispersed by the river's currents and by animals that feed on the lily. The entire process, from bulb formation to seed dispersal, is orchestrated by the rhythms of the Amazon's hydrological cycle. The seasonal flooding and receding of the river waters are essential to the lily's life cycle. For centuries, the indigenous communities of the Amazon have held the Victoria Amazonica in deep reverence. The Ticuna people, who inhabit the border region between Brazil, Colombia, and Venezuela, have a particularly strong connection with this remarkable plant. They refer to it as arua, and its significance extends far beyond its impressive size. The lily pads are meticulously crafted into a variety of useful items. The incredibly strong fibers are woven into durable ropes and mats, used for everything from fishing nets to roofing. The mucilage, carefully extracted, is employed as a medicinal ingredient, traditionally used to treat wounds, soothe skin irritations, and even as a component in traditional cosmetics. Beyond these practical uses, the Victoria Amazonica possesses profound cultural meaning. The lily pads are often used as platforms for ceremonies and rituals, symbolizing strength, resilience, and connection to the water. The communal harvesting of the lily's fibers represents a shared responsibility and a celebration of the river's bounty. Local knowledge dictates that the lily's presence signifies the health and vitality of the river, and its disappearance is seen as a harbinger of misfortune. The Ticuna people understand the lily not just as a resource, but as an integral part of their spiritual landscape, a living embodiment of the Amazon's ancient wisdom. The Victoria Amazonica, therefore, is more than just a giant water lily. It's a key component of a complex and interconnected ecosystem, a vital resource for indigenous communities, and a silent witness to the Amazon's enduring mysteries. Its continued survival depends on the health of the river it calls home, and on the respect and stewardship of those who understand its profound significance within the rainforest's delicate balance. The future of this magnificent plant, like so much of the Amazon, hangs in the balance. The air above the Amazon rainforest floor is a vibrant, restless place, a world entirely its own. It's not simply a layer of leaves and branches, it's the canopy, a bustling metropolis of life, far more complex and abundant than most realize. And among the most fascinating inhabitants of this high-altitude realm are the monkeys, a dazzling array of species, each shaped by the unique demands of their treetop existence. Understanding their diversity begins with a look at their astonishing variety of forms and, perhaps even more surprisingly, the intricate social systems they've evolved. The most familiar face of the canopy is undoubtedly the howler monkey, Est aloata species. These giants, some reaching almost a meter in length, dominate the lower canopy, their deep, guttural calls, truly the howls resonating for miles, serving not just as warnings, but also as a territorial proclamation. Each troop, consisting of up to 30 individuals, maintains a loosely defined range, fiercely defending it against rival groups. Their social structure is based on a stable hierarchy, dictated by size and dominance, with older, larger males holding the highest positions. Young males, eager to establish their own territories, often engage in spectacular, almost theatrical displays of aggression, chest beating, vocalizations, and pushing, to challenge the established order. Surprisingly, these confrontations rarely result in serious injury. More often, they are a complex series of displays aimed at communicating status and intention. Higher in the canopy, a completely different aesthetic unfolds with the woolly monkey, Lagothrix species. These monkeys are smaller, generally sporting thick, shaggy fur, an adaptation to the cooler temperatures found in the upper reaches of the forest. They're incredibly agile, moving with a fluid grace as they leap and swing through the branches. Woolly monkeys are highly social animals, typically living in troops of around 15 to 20 individuals, often including multiple generations living together. Their social bonds are remarkably strong, demonstrated by frequent grooming sessions, a vital component of their communication and social cohesion. Infants spend a significant amount of time clinging to their mothers, benefiting from constant protection and receiving invaluable lessons in foraging and social interaction. Moving into the more specialized niches is the bearded monkey, Chihuahua species, a truly remarkable creature. Easily recognized by the impressive, bristly beard of hair that adorns the male's faces, this monkey is critically endangered, a heartbreaking reminder of the fragility of this ecosystem. The male's beards, initially a pale fuzz, darken dramatically as they mature, becoming a dense, black mane, a visual signal of their prime condition and dominance. This facial display is central to their social interactions, with brighter, healthier-looking beards signifying a greater ability to secure food and attract mates. Their troops are relatively small, usually comprising of 6–12 individuals, and live in areas with a higher density of trees, relying heavily on a specialized diet of palm fruits. Then there's the spider monkey, a Tellus species, a true master of arboreal locomotion. Their long, slender limbs and prehensile tails, essentially a fifth limb, allow them to move with incredible speed and precision through the canopy, often hanging upside down while foraging. Spider monkeys are exceptionally social, living in large, dynamic troops that can number over 100 individuals. These troops are known for their complex communication system, utilizing a combination of vocalizations, facial expressions, and tactile signals. What's particularly fascinating is their mobbing behavior. When a predator, such as a harpy eagle or jaguar, approaches, the entire troop will collectively alert the danger, creating a chaotic, swirling mass of movement and vocalizations to deter the threat. Beyond these more common species, the canopy harbors numerous smaller and less studied monkeys, including the tufted capuchin, Sapages species, known for their intelligence and tool use, and the black lion tamarin, Ephliontopithecus species, a tiny, jet black primate clinging to survival in a shrinking range. Each species has adapted, through millennia of evolution, to exploit a specific food source or occupy a particular niche within the complex, layered ecosystem. The social structures of these monkeys are equally diverse. Some, like the howler monkeys, operate with relatively rigid hierarchies, while others, such as the woolly monkeys, exhibit more fluid social dynamics. The larger troops often have a more complex social structure, with individuals occupying various roles: dominant leaders, supportive followers, and specialized foragers. Their interactions are a constant dance of cooperation and competition, a testament to the incredible adaptability and resilience of life in the Amazon rainforest canopy. Studying these monkey communities provides a crucial window into the intricate workings of this extraordinary, ancient ecosystem, reminding us of the vital importance of protecting this precious and irreplaceable treasure. The Amazon isn't just a riot of green, it's a symphony, a constant, complex conversation happening all around you. But unlike a human orchestra, this one isn't composed of instruments. Instead, it's created by the myriad creatures that call the rainforest home, and, increasingly, by the sounds of human activity weaving through the dense vegetation. This is what scientists now call acoustic ecology, the study of how sound shapes and is shaped by the natural world. It's a remarkably intricate system, and understanding it reveals a profound level of communication and interdependence within this extraordinary ecosystem. For centuries, indigenous communities have intuitively understood the rainforest's soundscape. They learned to identify the calls of hundreds of species, not just for hunting or tracking, but also for understanding the health of the forest. A particular bird call might indicate the presence of a predator, while the absence of a specific insect chorus could signal a period of drought or disease. These people's traditional knowledge is increasingly recognized as vital to modern research, providing a baseline understanding of the typical rainforest soundscape, one often remarkably quiet compared to the noise levels of a developed region. The sheer volume of wildlife contributes significantly to the overall sound. The howler monkeys, particularly the males, are perhaps the most recognizable. Their deep, guttural roars can travel for miles, a territorial announcement, a mating call, and a declaration of dominance all rolled into one. But the soundscape is so much more nuanced. The calls of macaws, scarlet, blue, and gold, and others create flashes of brilliant color in the air, a vibrant cascade of calls competing for attention. The chatter of squirrel monkeys, the quick, staccato calls of tiny tree frogs, and the rustling of countless insects all blend together, creating a layered texture that is truly remarkable. At night, the sounds shift dramatically. The daytime chorus fades, replaced by the haunting calls of owls, the clicks and whistles of bats navigating the darkness, and the chirps and trills of nocturnal insects, each species specializing in different food sources and contributing to the nocturnal soundscape. Beyond the animal kingdom, the human presence is rapidly transforming the acoustic ecology. Logging operations, initially driven by the demand for timber, create a constant, jarring disruption. The roar of chainsaws, the grinding of machinery, and the collapse of trees. These sounds aren't just loud, they're fundamentally disruptive, interfering with the natural communication systems of the animals. Many species, particularly primates, rely on subtle vocalizations for complex social interactions. The introduction of constant noise makes it incredibly difficult for them to hear each other, disrupting their social bonds, and even affecting their ability to find food. Studies have shown a direct correlation between logging activity and a decline in primate vocalizations. The expansion of agriculture, particularly cattle ranching, introduces another layer of complexity. The movement of large herds of cattle generates significant noise, and the clearing of land for pasture often involves the use of heavy equipment. The impact here is less about specific sounds and more about the overall reduction in the natural soundscape, a gradual drowning out of the many subtle sounds that create a healthy rainforest. Mining operations introduce a new set of disruptive sounds: the blasting of rock, the operation of heavy machinery, and the constant presence of human voices. These sounds not only directly disturb wildlife, but can also have a cascading effect, altering animal behavior and reducing their ability to thrive. The effects are often difficult to quantify precisely, but the underlying principle is clear: the more intense and sustained the noise, the greater the negative impact. However, the story doesn't end with disruption. Scientists are now exploring ways to use sound itself to protect the rainforest. Acoustic monitoring devices, strategically placed throughout the forest, can record and analyze the soundscape, providing valuable data about animal populations, habitat health, and the impact of human activities. These recordings can be used to detect illegal logging, monitor wildlife movements, and even assess the effectiveness of conservation efforts. Furthermore, research into acoustic masking, the use of carefully designed soundscapes to discourage specific behaviors, such as deforestation, is showing promising results. Playing recordings of predator sounds, for example, can sometimes deter animals from entering vulnerable areas, while broadcasting calming sounds can reduce stress in stressed animals. The study of the Amazon's acoustic ecology is a reminder that the rainforest is more than just a collection of trees. It's a living, breathing, communicating world. It's a fragile system, and protecting its delicate soundscape is just as important as protecting its biodiversity. The future of the rainforest and the survival of countless species may very well depend on our ability to listen, truly listen, to the voices of the Amazon. The heart of the Amazon rainforest beats with a rhythm unlike any other, a pulse dictated not just by sunlight and rainfall, but by the dramatic, predictable rise and fall of the water. This isn't a slow, gentle seepage, it's a seasonal inundation, a flooding that transforms vast stretches of the forest into a shimmering, interconnected network of lakes, streams, and islands. It's a system of incredible complexity, a stage upon which the lives of countless creatures and plants are intricately intertwined. The sheer volume of water moving through the region, often exceeding that of the Mississippi River, is astonishing, and its seasonal shifts are the fundamental driver of the rainforest's extraordinary biodiversity. The timing of the inundation is crucial. It's typically triggered by the onset of the rainy season, beginning around November and stretching through to April. As the southern hemisphere moves into its wet season, the Andes Mountains, a crucial part of the Amazon's watershed, receive unprecedented rainfall. This water flows rapidly down the slopes, feeding the numerous rivers and streams that eventually deliver their colossal volumes into the Amazon basin. The ground, already saturated after months of intense humidity, struggles to absorb the increased water, and so the flooding begins. For many species, the initial stages of inundation represent a period of unprecedented opportunity. Fish, particularly the arapaima, one of the largest freshwater fish in the world, utilize this time to their full advantage. These giants, capable of reaching lengths of over 3 meters, spend much of the dry season buried in the muddy riverbeds, conserving energy. As the waters rise, they emerge, actively feeding on the abundant insect larvae and small fish that thrive in the newly created environment. The rising water also stimulates the spawning of countless other fish species, creating a frenzy of activity as they seek out suitable areas to lay their eggs. Different fish species have evolved highly specialized behaviors, some building nests of woven vegetation, others utilizing specific types of submerged roots for protection, each contributing to the complex tapestry of aquatic life. The impact on plant life is equally significant, though it unfolds in a different way. Many trees, particularly those adapted to the fluctuating water levels, possess specialized reproductive strategies. The Brazil nut tree, for example, relies on specific insect pollinators, particularly bees, that become more active during the flooded season. The flooded areas create a rich source of nectar and pollen, attracting these vital pollinators, ensuring the continued propagation of the tree. Similarly, the water lily of Victoria amazonica, its enormous leaves providing temporary platforms for wildlife, benefits from the increased nutrient availability in the flooded waters, promoting rapid growth and reproduction. The seeds of many aquatic plants, like the water hyacinth, are released into the water during this period, carried downstream and establishing new colonies across the landscape. Beyond simply providing a habitat, the inundation directly influences plant reproduction through a process called water pollination. Certain aquatic plants, such as some species of orchids and palms, rely on the movement of water to transport their pollen. They release their pollen into the flowing water, which then carries it to receptive flowers elsewhere in the network. This is a remarkable adaptation, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of environmental currents. Furthermore, the submerged roots of many trees provide anchor points and pathways for seeds to be dispersed, a kind of waterborne seed raft. The flooded season isn't just a period of rapid growth and reproduction. It's also a time of intense competition. As resources become scarce, animals and plants engage in a constant struggle for survival. Larger predators, like the jaguar and caiman, are able to exploit the increased abundance of prey, while smaller creatures must develop cunning strategies to evade capture. The plants, too, compete for sunlight and nutrients, with those closest to the water's edge often experiencing the most intense competition. As the season progresses and the water begins to recede, the effects of inundation are gradually reversed. The reduced water levels expose the land once more, triggering a shift in the ecological dynamics. Seeds that were scattered during the flood begin to germinate, and plants that relied on the submerged environment transition back to terrestrial life. The entire ecosystem shifts, preparing for the drier months ahead. The receding water leaves behind a rich layer of sediment, a floodplain sediment laden with nutrients. This sediment, washed down from the surrounding hills, acts as a natural fertilizer, fueling the growth of vegetation as the land dries out. The cycle is complete, a continuous exchange of energy and materials that sustains the rainforest's incredible abundance. The seasonal flooding isn't a destructive force, it's a vital, dynamic process shaping the rainforest's landscape, fostering its biodiversity, and ensuring its continued ability to thrive. It's a powerful demonstration of how interconnected life can be, a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the Amazon rainforest. The air hangs heavy and humid, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something intensely sweet and complex. It's a smell inextricably linked to the Amazon rainforest. But it's not just the familiar fragrance of ripening fruit. Beneath that sweetness lies a hidden world of chemistry, a vibrant tapestry woven from countless unique compounds found within the rainforest's incredible array of fruits. Scientists are only beginning to unravel the secrets held within these edible treasures, uncovering potential medicinal properties that could revolutionize healthcare. Consider the cupuaçu, a large, purple fruit often described as a cross between chocolate and pineapple. Its pulp is intensely flavorful, and it's packed with compounds like gallic acid, a powerful antioxidant found in many teas, and used in skin treatments, and tannins, which contribute to its astringent taste. But beyond these familiar constituents, cupuaçu contains a surprising amount of compounds called isomucins. These unique molecules are being investigated for their potential to lower cholesterol and even combat certain types of cancer cells in laboratory settings. The exact mechanisms are still under study, but the initial findings are remarkably promising. Then there's the acai berry, instantly recognizable by its deep purple color. Its high antioxidant content has made it a global superstar, but the reasons behind its potency are far more nuanced than simply antioxidants. A pulp contains a complex mixture of anthocyanins, the pigments responsible for its color, and also several flavonoids. These compounds don't just protect cells from damage, they appear to interact with inflammation pathways in the body. Research suggests acai might aid in reducing the symptoms of arthritis and even slow the progression of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. What's fascinating is how the specific combinations of these compounds, rather than any single one, seem to contribute to the berry's remarkable effects. Moving deeper into the rainforest, we encounter the biriti palm fruit, known locally as miranao. This fruit, with its vibrant orange pulp, is another powerhouse of bioactive compounds. The biriti palm is exceptionally resilient, thriving in even the most nutrient-poor soils, a characteristic reflected in the fruit's chemical makeup. It's extraordinarily rich in beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A, far exceeding levels found in carrots. More importantly, however, the biriti pulp contains a significant amount of a compound called biritina. This unique molecule is being studied for its ability to protect against oxidative stress and, crucially, for its potential in wound healing. Preliminary research indicates that biritina could accelerate tissue regeneration and reduce scarring. The chemistry of Amazonian fruits isn't limited to just well-known berries. Many lesser-known fruits are equally rich in valuable compounds. The camu-camu, for example, is a small, yellow berry found in the flooded areas of the rainforest. It boasts the highest concentration of vitamin C of any known fruit, nearly 300 times that of an orange. However, camu-camu's chemical complexity goes beyond its vitamin C content. It contains a variety of flavonoids, including quercetin and camphorol, known for their anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. These compounds, working synergistically with the vitamin C, offer a powerful defense against cellular damage. Another intriguing area of research focuses on the maracuja, or passion fruit. Beyond its vibrant flavor, it's a concentrated source of compounds like caffeic acid and gallic acid. Recent studies have shown that extracts from maracuja could have significant antimicrobial activity, potentially effective against bacteria and fungi. This is particularly exciting given the rising concern about antibiotic resistance. Furthermore, the fruit's pulp contains compounds that seem to soothe irritated skin, making it a traditional remedy for minor burns and rashes. The rainforest fruits are, in essence, chemical libraries, each containing a unique set of interactions between hundreds, if not thousands, of compounds. What makes the Amazon so special is not just the presence of these compounds, but the way they interact with each other and with our own bodies. Scientists are beginning to understand that many of the observed health benefits aren't solely attributable to a single compound, but rather to the intricate combination and synergy of multiple chemicals. This is what they call polyphenolic complexity, and it's a concept that's fundamentally changing our understanding of how natural substances can contribute to human health. The indigenous communities who have relied on these fruits for centuries possess a deep, intuitive understanding of their properties. Traditional uses often involve combining different fruits to maximize their beneficial effects. They intuitively recognize the complex relationships within these natural systems, a knowledge that modern science is only just beginning to appreciate. As research continues, we'll likely discover even more extraordinary compounds hidden within the Amazon's incredible fruit diversity. potentially unlocking solutions to some of the world's most pressing health challenges. The rainforest and its remarkable fruits hold a vast and largely unexplored chemical kingdom waiting to be understood. Deep within the Amazon, a secret language whispered from the earth itself. It wasn't a spoken one, of course, but a silent record embedded in tiny, perfectly preserved grains of pollen. Paleobotanists, scientists who study ancient plant life, have discovered a remarkable technique analyzing these fossilized pollen records to piece together a stunningly detailed picture of the rainforest's history, stretching back tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of years. This isn't just about knowing which plants were here. It's about understanding how the climate shifted, how the forest responded, and how dramatically it has changed over immense timescales. The key to unlocking this ancient story lies in the chemical makeup of the pollen grains themselves. Each species of flowering plant, each tree, each grass, produces pollen with a unique fingerprint, specific combinations of elements and isotopes, the variations of a single element, that are trapped within the pollen structure as it dries and becomes fossilized. These fingerprints are remarkably stable, enduring for millennia, and remarkably well preserved in the anoxic, or oxygen-poor, sediments of the Amazon's floodplain lakes and swamps. These undisturbed layers, created by the accumulation of decaying plant matter and mud, act like time capsules, silently recording the vegetation present at the moment the pollen was deposited. The process begins with meticulous excavation. Teams of scientists, often working in challenging conditions within the dense rainforest, carefully dig through layers of sediment, documenting each stratum, each distinct layer, with great precision. They use specialized tools like corers, long, hollow tubes that extract cylindrical samples of sediment to obtain these vital cores. The depth of the core reveals how much time has passed since the pollen was deposited, with deeper cores representing older periods. Once a core is extracted, it's carefully sealed and transported to a laboratory where the magic begins. Within the lab, scientists employ sophisticated analytical techniques, primarily radiocarbon dating and phytocannabinoid analysis. Radiocarbon dating, also known as carbon-14 dating, is a powerful tool that measures the decay of a radioactive isotope of carbon. Living plants constantly absorb carbon from the atmosphere, but once they die, this intake ceases, and the carbon begins to decay at a known rate. By measuring the remaining amount of carbon-14 in the pollen, scientists can determine the precise age of the layer. The accuracy of this dating has dramatically improved in recent years, allowing for increasingly precise reconstructions of past climate events. However, radiocarbon dating alone doesn't tell the whole story. It's phytocannabinoid analysis that really allows scientists to identify the specific plant species present at the time. Phytocannabinoids are chemical compounds produced by plants, and the ratios of these compounds within the pollen grains provide a unique signature for each species. Think of it like a plant's genetic code, but expressed through these chemical markers. Different plants produce different ratios, and these ratios are remarkably consistent, allowing scientists to confidently match the phytocannabinoid signature to a known plant species in a modern reference database. The data gathered from these pollen records has revealed a truly astonishing picture of the Amazon's past. For many years, scientists believed that the rainforest was a relatively stable ecosystem, slowly evolving over long periods. However, the pollen records show something quite different. They reveal periods of dramatic shifts in vegetation, responding to significant changes in climate. During the last glacial period, when vast amounts of water were locked up in ice sheets around the globe, the Amazon experienced a considerable cooling. This triggered a decline in the rainforest's extent, replaced by more open woodlands and grasslands, dominated by species adapted to cooler, drier conditions. The pollen records demonstrate the movement of species across the landscape following the changing climate. More recently, analysis of pollen from deeper layers has revealed evidence of a mega wet period, perhaps 8,000 to 10,000 years ago. During this time, rainfall was significantly higher than it is today, and the rainforest expanded dramatically, covering a much larger area of the continent. The pollen indicates a flourishing of diverse plant communities, including many species now rare or absent due to the modern climate. Furthermore, the pollen records are providing crucial insights into the impact of human activity, even dating back thousands of years. While the early impacts of indigenous populations were initially subtle, a shift in species composition reflecting land use practices, the data shows a marked increase in human influence beginning around 1500 AD, coinciding with the arrival of European colonizers and the devastating effects of deforestation. The pollen reveals a dramatic decline in the abundance of certain tree species, particularly those associated with undisturbed rainforest, alongside the proliferation of grasses and other pioneer species associated with human-altered landscapes. The study of ancient pollen records isn't a simple task. It's a complex and painstaking process requiring expertise in multiple scientific disciplines. But the rewards are immense. By listening to the silent whispers of these ancient grains, scientists are building a more complete and nuanced understanding of the Amazon rainforest, its past, its resilience, and its vulnerability in the face of a changing world. It's a reminder that the rainforest's story isn't just about the present, but about a long and dynamic history that continues to shape the continent today. The rainforest floor, perpetually damp and teeming with life, held a secret world of vibrant, startling beauty, the world of the poison dart frogs. These tiny amphibians, no bigger than a thumb, weren't just captivating to look at. They were masters of a complex and fascinating system of survival, a dazzling demonstration of evolution's ingenuity. Their very existence was a testament to the power of adaptation, built upon an intricate partnership between their bright colors, their potent toxins, and a suite of behavioral defenses. The most immediately striking aspect of the poison dart frog is, undeniably, its coloration. It's a spectacular display, often far brighter than anything you might find in a meadow. The males of many species, golden poison frog, blue poison dart frog, red-blooded poison dart frog, boast colors like brilliant yellow, shocking blue, vivid red, or shimmering gold. These aren't mere decorations, they are vital signals, carefully crafted to communicate a powerful message. I am poisonous, stay away. The intensity and specific hue of the color varies greatly from species to species, and even within a single species, reflecting subtle differences in their toxin composition. This isn't a random occurrence. The bright colors are a direct result of the frog's diet, primarily small insects and mites it consumes. These invertebrates, particularly ants, contain alkaloids, chemical compounds, that are metabolized within the frog's skin. The alkaloids are then stored and concentrated, amplified by the vibrant pigments in the frog's skin, transforming the harmless chemicals into a warning signal. It's a clever system of bioaccumulation, turning a diet into a potent defense mechanism. Beyond simply being visually alarming, the coloration serves another crucial function: mimicry. Some species, like the highland poison dart frog, deliberately imitate the colors and patterns of certain local caterpillars. This deceptive strategy allows them to blend into their surroundings, making them even more difficult for predators, such as snakes, birds, and larger frogs, to spot. The caterpillar camouflage isn't merely visual, it extends to olfactory cues as well, mimicking the scent of the caterpillars, further confusing potential attackers. This adds another layer of sophistication to their defense. But toxicity alone isn't enough to guarantee survival. The frogs employ a range of behavioral tactics, many of which are linked directly to their striking colors. Many species, notably the golden poison frog, are relentlessly aggressive, utilizing their bright coloration as a dominant display. They engage in elaborate courtship rituals, puffing out their skin, and often engaging in violent physical contests with rivals. These contests, sometimes involving physical shoving and even biting, are critical for establishing dominance and securing mating opportunities. The bright colors intensify during these encounters, signaling the level of aggression and deterring other males from challenging the dominant frog. The skin itself plays a crucial role in defense. Poison dart frogs have incredibly smooth, permeable skin, allowing them to readily absorb alkaloids directly from their diet. But this permeability also means that the toxins are readily accessible to predators who might come into contact with the frog's skin. Interestingly, the frogs actively maintain contact with their skin, constantly rubbing against leaves and vegetation. This behavior isn't simply grooming. It's a deliberate method of replenishing their toxin reserves and ensuring a continuous supply of defensive chemicals. The frogs also utilize specialized glands, called poison glands, located primarily on their back limbs. These glands produce concentrated doses of alkaloids, which they can deposit onto their skin as a final, desperate defense. The young of poison dart frogs face an exceptionally perilous existence. Tadpoles, lacking the toxins of their parents, are particularly vulnerable. They rely heavily on parental care, being carried on the frog's back to access food and, crucially, to benefit from the protective coloration of the adult. The adult frogs will actively defend their young, often exhibiting increased aggression and utilizing their toxins to ward off potential threats. This parental investment is a key factor in the survival of these small amphibians. Furthermore, the frog's movements are often deliberate and cautious. They are not quick, darting creatures. Instead, they move slowly and deliberately, scanning their surroundings for potential danger. This slow, methodical approach minimizes the risk of startling a predator, while still allowing them to efficiently search for food. The intricate interplay between coloration, toxicity, and behavior in poison dart frogs is a remarkable example of natural selection at work. It's a system finely tuned over millennia, a brilliant demonstration of how life can adapt and thrive, even in the most challenging environments. It's a testament to the remarkable power and beauty of the natural world, a hidden jewel within the vast and wondrous Amazon rainforest. The rainforest hummed, a complex, layered orchestra of sounds, the buzz of insects, the chatter of monkeys, and, most subtly, the songs of birds. These calls weren't just random noises, they were intricate messages, guiding flocks across vast distances, orchestrating one of the most remarkable journeys on Earth. For generations, the Amazon rainforest had been a crucial staging ground for bird migration, a temporary haven for birds traveling thousands of kilometers between their breeding and wintering grounds. But this ancient, beautifully balanced system is now facing an unprecedented threat, profoundly altering these familiar patterns and pushing some of its most vulnerable species towards the edge. The core of this disruption lies in the relentless advance of deforestation, the clearing of huge tracts of forest for cattle ranching, agriculture, and logging. As trees are felled, the landscape rapidly transforms. The dense, unbroken canopy, which once provided a seamless network of food sources and sheltered routes, is shattered. The immediate effect is a severe reduction in the availability of fruit and insects, the very foundations of the bird's diet. But the changes extend far beyond simply a lack of food. The forest structure itself, a vital element in guiding migration, is demolished. Birds rely on a network of subtle cues to navigate. The density of the canopy, the height of the trees, The presence of specific vegetation types, all these factors create a 3-to-3-dimensional map that guides them along their routes. They use these visual landmarks, combined with magnetic fields, and crucially, the calls of other birds, to maintain their course. When deforestation disrupts this system, it's like removing pages from a carefully constructed atlas. Birds lose their bearings. Researchers have begun to meticulously track the shifts in bird ranges following deforestation. Using satellite tracking devices and long-term monitoring programs, scientists are observing significant range contractions, a shrinking of the areas where a species can successfully survive and reproduce. For instance, certain species of tanagers, reliant on specialized fruits found in undisturbed forest patches, are abandoning previously held territories as the forests disappear. These birds, unable to find sufficient food, are forced to move further and further into fragmented areas, often adjacent to human settlements, putting them directly in harm's way. The impact isn't uniform across all bird species. Some, particularly those more adaptable and opportunistic feeders, are demonstrating a degree of resilience. However, many specialist species, those with highly specific dietary requirements or relying on particular habitat structures, are demonstrating a far more dramatic decline. The Amazonian parrot, for example, which depends on the mature figs found only in old-growth forests, has seen its range shrink dramatically, pushing it closer to the brink of extinction in several areas. Furthermore, the disruption of migration patterns isn't just about a bird's inability to reach its destination. It's about the timing of their arrival and departure. Deforestation creates microclimates, areas that are hotter, drier, or more exposed to sunlight, which can significantly alter the seasonal cues that trigger migration. The predictability of the rainforest's rhythm, once a reliable guide, is now fractured. Birds arrive too early or too late, missing the peak abundance of food or facing harsher weather conditions than they are adapted to. The consequences extend beyond the individual bird's survival. They ripple through the entire ecosystem. Birds play a vital role in seed dispersal, contributing to the regeneration of the rainforest. When migration patterns are disrupted, this process is compromised, further accelerating the decline of the forest. The intricate connections within the Amazonian food web, delicately balanced for millennia, are unraveling. Researchers are also investigating how deforestation is influencing the social dynamics of migratory flocks. The familiar calls and visual cues that coordinate movement are weakened, leading to increased disorientation and a heightened risk of collisions with human-made structures, such as power lines and buildings. The loss of experienced leaders within the flocks, individuals who had honed their navigation skills over generations, exacerbates the problem. The scale of the challenge is immense. The Amazon rainforest, though vast, is being lost at an alarming rate, and the impacts on bird migration are only beginning to be fully understood. Scientists are working to develop conservation strategies that prioritize the protection of remaining forest fragments and the restoration of degraded areas. Innovative approaches, such as creating stepping stones, small, isolated patches of forest that provide crucial habitat for migrating birds, are showing promise. However, the long-term success of these efforts depends on a fundamental shift in our relationship with the rainforest. It requires a recognition that the Amazon isn't just a source of timber and agricultural land. It's a globally important ecosystem, a vibrant hub of biodiversity, and a critical player in regulating our planet's climate. Protecting the rainforest and safeguarding the incredible journeys of its migratory birds is not just an environmental imperative, it's a responsibility we all share, ensuring that the rainforest's song continues to echo across the generations. Deep within the emerald heart of the Amazon, a silent city hums with an industrious, ancient rhythm. not of humans, but of termites and their extraordinary architecture. For decades, a dedicated group of researchers, primarily Brazilian and international, have been meticulously studying the complex structures built by these tiny engineers. These aren't simply piles of dirt. They are sophisticated buildings, representing a level of social organization and engineering prowess that challenges our understanding of insect behavior. The focus has shifted dramatically over the last few years, moving beyond simply cataloging species to understanding the incredible purpose and interwoven roles of these mounds within the rainforest ecosystem. The most striking aspect of termite mounds is their diversity. There's no single termite house. Instead, you find a stunning variety of designs, each adapted to the local environment and the specific caste of termites inhabiting it. Some mounds, like those built by Acinasutermes species, are enormous, towering structures reaching heights of up to 15 meters taller than some small houses. These giants, constructed primarily by the soldier termites, are built in open, sunny locations, designed to radiate heat and maintain a cooler internal temperature. The precise engineering behind this heat regulation is still being unraveled, but it's clear that the size and shape are meticulously calculated to maximize ventilation and minimize temperature fluctuations. In contrast, other mounds, such as those created by microtermes, are smaller, more compact structures, often built in shaded areas and incorporating sophisticated ventilation systems with overlapping walls and small openings, designed to maintain a constant, cool, and humid environment ideal for raising young. But the architecture isn't just about temperature control. It's inextricably linked to the intricate social structure of the termites themselves. These colonies aren't dominated by a single queen. Instead, they often have multiple queens, each presiding over a different section of the mound. This complexity creates specialized zones, a queen room for egg laying and royal care, nurseries for the developing larvae, feeding galleries for storing food, and formidable defense chambers manned by specialized soldier termites. The study of these galleries reveals a truly remarkable division of labor. Different castes, the soldiers with their powerful mandibles and defensive behaviors, the workers diligently transporting food and building materials, and the reproductives all contribute to the collective effort with remarkable efficiency. Researchers use a combination of micro, CT scanning and detailed physical measurements to map the intricate network of tunnels and chambers, gaining unprecedented insights into the flow of traffic and the distribution of resources. The research has begun to reveal that the mounds aren't just functional homes. They are crucial components of the rainforest's nutrient cycle. Termites are prodigious decomposers, consuming vast quantities of dead wood and leaf litter, breaking down cellulose, the main component of plant cell walls, and releasing nutrients back into the soil. This process, called wood digestion, is incredibly efficient, far more so than many bacteria or fungi. The tunnels themselves act as pathways for water and nutrients to flow through the soil, enhancing its fertility and promoting plant growth. Moreover, the mounds create microclimates, sheltering plants from intense sunlight and protecting them from erosion. Scientists are now employing isotopic tracing techniques, following the movement of carbon and other elements within the mound to definitively demonstrate the scale of the termites' contribution to the rainforest's biogeochemical cycles. These studies are suggesting that termite activity may be significantly underestimated in current models of the Amazon's ecosystem. The mounds effectively act as miniature, self-contained recycling plants, transforming organic matter into usable nutrients. Recently, advanced acoustic monitoring has added another layer to our understanding. Using highly sensitive microphones, researchers have recorded the subtle vibrations within the mounds, a complex symphony of activity, including the movements of termites, the dripping of water, and the expansion and contraction of the structures due to temperature changes. These acoustic patterns are believed to be a form of communication, perhaps used to coordinate tasks, warn of danger, or even signal the availability of food. Furthermore, the mounds themselves are surprisingly resilient. The materials used in construction soil, wood fibers, and saliva create a remarkably strong and durable composite. The structures can withstand floods, storms, and even the movement of large animals, showcasing an innate ability to adapt and endure. The research is also focusing on the genetic diversity within termite populations, demonstrating that different species have evolved specialized adaptations for their specific roles within the mound complex. The ongoing study of termite mounds is a powerful reminder that even the smallest creatures play a monumental role in shaping the world around us. These engineered marvels, built with such dedication and ingenuity, are not just homes for insects. They are vital nodes within the rainforest's intricate web of life, a testament to the power of collective intelligence, and an essential piece of the puzzle as scientists strive to understand and protect this incredible ecosystem. The data collected is contributing to a broader understanding of how diverse species interact and influence the health and stability of the entire Amazon rainforest, a project that highlights the interconnectedness of life on Earth. The air in the Amazon basin hangs thick and warm, a constant humidity clinging to everything. Below the towering trees and the vibrant chorus of life, a hidden world thrives, a complex network of rivers, streams, and flooded forests. It's a place where the sunlight struggles to reach the water's surface, creating a perpetually dim and nutrient-rich environment. While we often think of the rainforest as a place dominated by large animals like jaguars and macaws, a truly remarkable process of recycling and nourishment is happening at a much smaller scale, driven by a multitude of aquatic invertebrates. These tiny creatures, often overlooked, are the unsung heroes of the Amazon's nutrient cycle. Let's begin with the freshwater shrimp, particularly the various species of Atiopsis and Macrobrachium. These crustaceans aren't simply swimming around, they're incredibly efficient recyclers. Fallen leaves, decaying wood, and even the carcasses of fish and other animals are relentlessly broken down by these shrimp. Their powerful mandibles, strong, snapping jaws grind up the organic matter into manageable pieces. But the digestion process itself is fascinating. Unlike many animals that rely on complex gut bacteria, the shrimp's digestive system is relatively simple, yet incredibly effective. They essentially eat the organic matter directly, extracting nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, the building blocks of life, and expelling a surprisingly clean waste product. This isn't just about consuming dead material. It's about initiating a cascade of transformations. As the shrimp process this material, they produce ammonia, a toxic compound. However, the Amazon's waters are brimming with bacteria, specifically cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae, that specialize in converting this ammonia into nitrates. These cyanobacteria, thriving in the dim light and abundant nutrients, are like miniature chemical factories, dramatically reducing the toxicity and making the nutrients available to a broader range of organisms. The shrimp and cyanobacteria engage in a constant, symbiotic relationship. The shrimp provide the initial breakdown, and the cyanobacteria refine the process, creating a more accessible form of nitrogen for the ecosystem. Beyond the shrimp, consider the role of aquatic insects, particularly larvae of mayflies, caddisflies, and stoneflies. These larvae, often living amongst the leaf litter and submerged roots, are voracious filter feeders. They strain tiny particles of organic matter, algae, bacteria, and even smaller invertebrates from the water. Similar to the shrimp, their digestive systems efficiently extract nutrients, but the process also contributes to the breakdown of complex organic molecules. Their castings, the solid waste they excrete, are rich in nutrients and become a valuable food source for other aquatic organisms, including snails and small fish larvae. The muddy bottoms of the Amazonian rivers and streams are also home to various worms, flatworms, roundworms, and segmented worms. These creatures play a crucial role in aerating the sediment, which is vital for the survival of many aquatic organisms. As they burrow and move through the substrate, they disturb the layers of organic matter, exposing it to microbial action and facilitating decomposition. Furthermore, their feeding habits contribute to the continuous cycle of nutrient release. They consume organic matter, break it down, and release the extracted nutrients back into the water column. It's important to realize that this nutrient processing doesn't happen in isolation. The invertebrates are interconnected with a vast network of bacteria, fungi, and algae. The bacteria decompose larger organic materials, while the fungi extend their hyphae, thread-like filaments throughout the sediment, further accelerating decomposition. Algae, utilizing the released nutrients, photosynthesize, creating oxygen, a necessity for the respiration of many aquatic organisms. This intricate web of interactions represents a remarkably efficient and self-regulating system. The flow of nutrients through this invertebrate-dominated system has a profound effect on the entire rainforest ecosystem. The nutrients released from the aquatic environment are essential for the growth of aquatic plants, water lilies, pondweed, and submerged vegetation, which, in turn, provide food and habitat for fish and other animals. These aquatic plants, nourished by the processed organic matter, contribute to the oxygen production vital for the survival of many organisms. The nutrients eventually make their way back into the atmosphere through the respiration of plants and animals, completing a continuous cycle. Consider, too, the seasonal fluctuations. During the rainy season, the water levels rise, increasing the surface area available for decomposition and creating more habitat for invertebrates. During the drier season, when the water levels recede, the concentration of nutrients increases, often leading to a dramatic bloom of algae, a visible testament to the power of this nutrient processing system. This concentrated nutrient surge fuels even greater productivity, supporting a vibrant and diverse aquatic ecosystem. The study of these aquatic invertebrates is still revealing new insights into the complex workings of the Amazon rainforest. Scientists are continually learning about the specific species involved, their interactions, and the role they play in maintaining the health and productivity of this vital ecosystem. It's a reminder that even the smallest creatures can have the biggest impact, and that the rainforest's incredible biodiversity is built on a foundation of continuous recycling and renewal, orchestrated by the tireless efforts of its aquatic inhabitants. The air in the Amazon hangs thick and humid, a constant whisper of green and brown. Sunlight filters through the immense canopy in shifting patterns, creating a mosaic of light and shadow across the forest floor. This isn't just a beautiful place, it's a living library, a repository of knowledge accumulated over millennia. And the keepers of much of that knowledge are the indigenous groups who have called this rainforest home for countless generations. Their understanding of the forest isn't based on scientific observation alone. It's rooted in a profound, intricate relationship with the plants themselves, a practice we call ethnobotany. Ethnobotany, at its heart, is the study of how people, particularly indigenous communities, use plants for their livelihood, their health, and their spiritual well-being. It's about recognizing that for these groups, the rainforest isn't just a collection of individual trees. It's a complex network of interconnected lives, and the plants are central to that web. Many of these communities, like the Yanomami, the Kayapo, and the Ticuna, possess incredibly detailed understandings of hundreds, sometimes thousands, of plant species. They don't just know that a plant exists, they know what it does, how to use it, and why it's important. This knowledge isn't passed down through textbooks or formal lessons. Instead, it's transmitted through intimate, experiential learning. Children learn by observing their elders, participating in daily routines, and carefully observing the effects of plants on their bodies and the environment. A young Yanomami child, for example, might spend days shadowing their grandmother as she gathers urucum, a vibrant red plant whose oil is used to make body paint and is also traditionally used to treat wounds and skin ailments. The child wouldn't simply be watching. They'd be absorbing, learning about the plant's properties, the proper way to harvest it without damaging the tree, and the specific preparation techniques that ensure its effectiveness. The range of medicinal applications understood by these groups is astonishing. Many plants have multiple uses, demonstrating a sophisticated awareness of plant chemistry. The cat's claw vine, for instance, is used by several tribes for treating arthritis, fever, and even certain types of cancer, although the precise mechanisms are still being investigated by modern scientists. Traditional healers often employ a process of trial and error, carefully documenting the effects of different plant preparations on themselves or family members. This careful observation, often spanning weeks or months, is crucial to discerning the most effective treatment. Beyond simply treating illnesses, these communities utilize plants in a holistic way, addressing physical, mental, and spiritual needs. Certain plants might be used to induce altered states of consciousness, facilitating communication with spirits or aiding in healing ceremonies. Others are valued for their calming properties, used to soothe anxiety or promote restful sleep. The selection of a plant isn't made based on a diagnosis. It's guided by an understanding of the individual's overall balance and connection to the natural world. Importantly, the knowledge isn't static. It's constantly evolving, adapted to changing environmental conditions and new challenges. When a particular plant becomes scarce due to deforestation or over-harvesting, the community will investigate alternative sources or develop new preparation methods. Their understanding isn't simply rote memorization, it's a dynamic, responsive system. Scientists are increasingly recognizing the immense value of this traditional knowledge. Collaboration between ethnobotanists and indigenous communities is producing groundbreaking research. For example, studies using ethnobotanical data have identified dozens of plants with significant medicinal potential that were previously overlooked by Western science. Researchers are working with indigenous groups to document their knowledge, develop sustainable harvesting practices, and explore the potential for pharmaceutical development, always ensuring that the communities benefit directly from the use of their traditional wisdom. However, this collaboration presents both opportunities and challenges. There's a critical need to respect indigenous intellectual property rights and ensure that they benefit fairly from any commercialization of their knowledge. Simply taking a plant identified by an indigenous person and patenting it without their consent is not only ethically problematic, but also fundamentally misunderstands the nature of the relationship. It treats the knowledge as a commodity, rather than as a sacred inheritance. The future of Amazonian biodiversity, and indeed the health of the planet, may depend, in part, on our ability to learn from these ancient traditions. The rainforest's vast knowledge base, held within the hearts and minds of indigenous communities, offers a powerful and invaluable perspective on how to live in harmony with nature. It's a reminder that true understanding comes not just from scientific investigation, but from listening to those who have lived in intimate connection with the forest for generations. As the shadows lengthen and the sounds of the rainforest deepen. Remember that within this extraordinary ecosystem lies a wealth of wisdom waiting to be rediscovered, understood, and protected. The Amazon rainforest isn't just a vast green expanse. It's a complex, layered world, a living puzzle built over millions of years. For decades, scientists struggled to truly understand its intricate structure, relying primarily on aerial photographs and satellite imagery. These methods, while helpful, were limited. Thick clouds frequently obscured the view, and the dense canopy made it incredibly difficult to discern the details of the forest floor and the smaller, vital structures within. Then, a remarkable technology began to unlock the rainforest's secrets. LIDAR, light detection and ranging. LIDAR, short for light detection and ranging, is like a super-powered echo. Instead of seeing with light like a camera, a LIDAR system uses laser pulses to measure distances. It's a technique traditionally employed in surveying large areas, like mapping coastlines or charting mountainous regions, but its potential within the dense, chaotic environment of the Amazon had remained largely untapped until recently. Specifically designed aircraft, often small helicopters or drones equipped with LiDAR sensors, fly over the rainforest. These sensors emit rapid pulses of laser light, and these pulses bounce off everything they encounter, the tops of trees, the forest floor, even the leaves themselves. The sensor precisely measures the time it takes for each pulse to return, allowing it to calculate the distance to that object with incredible accuracy. The returned signals, or COs, are then processed by powerful computers, creating a detailed 3D map. Think of it like throwing a ball against a wall. The amount of time it takes for the ball to bounce back tells you how far away the wall is. LiDAR does this, but instead of a ball, it uses laser light, and instead of a wall, it encounters the entire structure of the forest. What makes LiDAR so extraordinary in the Amazon is its ability to penetrate the canopy. The laser light, unlike visible light, can pass through the gaps between the leaves, bouncing off the forest floor and even some of the smaller vegetation. This allows scientists to build a remarkably detailed picture of the forest's three-dimensional structure, a structure far more complex than previously imagined. Initially, the maps generated by LiDAR revealed a startling truth. The rainforest is overwhelmingly dominated by a complex network of buttress roots. These massive, sprawling root systems, often reaching several meters in diameter, aren't just holding trees upright, they're actively shaping the landscape. They create hollows, depressions, and interconnected channels, forming a subterranean highway system. These aren't haphazard growths, they are carefully engineered by the trees themselves, maximizing their access to nutrients and water in the challenging rainforest environment. The LiDAR data showed that these buttress root systems aren't just scattered randomly, they form distinct, interconnected networks, sometimes extending for hundreds of meters, creating a hidden world beneath the trees. But the LiDAR revelations didn't stop there. The technology revealed a surprising abundance of secondary forests, smaller, denser patches of vegetation growing in the shadows of the larger trees. These weren't just isolated pockets of growth, they were connected by intricate networks of pathways and corridors, formed by the roots and the movement of animals. The system showed an incredible level of spatial organization, far beyond what traditional methods could detect. It painted a picture of a forest that is far more mobile and dynamic than scientists had previously assumed. Furthermore, the LiDAR data exposed a previously unknown abundance of treefall gaps, areas where trees have fallen, creating openings in the canopy. These gaps aren't simply vacant spaces, they're hotspots of ecological activity. They provide sunlight and moisture, stimulating new growth, attracting animals, and creating microclimates that support a diverse range of species. The LiDAR revealed a complex web of regeneration patterns, how new trees colonize these gaps, competing with each other and adapting to the changing conditions. The data also highlighted the remarkable scale of the forest floor itself. The LiDAR revealed a complex mosaic of different vegetation types, from dense undergrowth to open areas covered in leaf litter. It showed that the forest floor isn't a uniformly dark and muddy surface, but a dynamic ecosystem in its own right, with variations in moisture levels, nutrient availability, and microclimates. The ability to measure the height and density of vegetation at this scale allowed researchers to quantify the forest's carbon storage capacity with unprecedented accuracy, a vital contribution to understanding the Amazon's role in regulating the global climate. The ongoing use of LiDAR is transforming our understanding of the Amazon rainforest, shifting it from a largely intuitive concept, a dense, green jungle, to a highly structured, dynamic, and interconnected ecosystem. It's allowing scientists to answer fundamental questions about the forest's evolution, its resilience, and its ability to adapt to changing conditions. The technology isn't just mapping the forest, it's revealing the intricate processes that sustain one of the most important ecosystems on our planet, layer by layer, pulse by pulse. The future of Amazon rainforest research is undoubtedly intertwined with the continued development and application of this remarkable technology. The air in the Amazon hangs heavy, not just with humidity, but with a growing unease. Scientists have been meticulously studying the rainforest's trees, and the story they're uncovering isn't one of simple decline, but one of dramatic, albeit unsettling, adaptation and a slow shuffling of the forest's boundaries. The most significant change revolves around how trees are responding to increasing periods of drought, a consequence of a warming global climate. For centuries, the Amazon has been characterized by a steady, predictable cycle of wet and dry seasons. But now, the dry seasons are longer, deeper, and more frequent, pushing the rainforest's inhabitants, especially its trees, to the very edge of their tolerance. Researchers are identifying distinct groups of tree species demonstrating surprising resilience. These aren't the grand, towering giants, like the Brazil nut trees or the kapok, but rather a collection of smaller, often overlooked species that are exhibiting an ability to endure extended periods without significant rainfall. These trees, typically found in the understory or along riverbanks, possess physiological adaptations that allow them to conserve water and withstand stress far better than their more sensitive relatives. One particularly intriguing group consists of certain species of palms. The Mauritia flexuosa, commonly known as the acai palm, has shown remarkable success in surviving extended dry spells, largely due to its deep root system, which taps into groundwater reserves. Another area of intense investigation focuses on the Darzinga genus, a diverse group of nitrogen-fixing trees. These trees have evolved strategies to minimize water loss through their leaves, developing a waxy coating and a reduced surface area, effectively shutting down their photosynthetic activity during times of drought. This dormancy mode isn't death. Rather, it's a carefully controlled state of suspended animation, allowing the tree to survive until the return of rainfall. The ability of these trees to maintain root growth and nutrient storage during drought is key to their survival. The distribution of these drought-resistant species is shifting, subtly yet undeniably, across the Amazon basin. Scientists are observing a gradual expansion of their ranges, a range expansion, as they call it, into areas previously dominated by more water-dependent species. This isn't a sudden invasion, it's a slow creep, driven by the changing environmental conditions. As rainfall patterns shift, these more resilient trees are able to establish themselves in areas where their less adaptable cousins struggle to survive. This range expansion isn't occurring uniformly. It's influenced by a complex interplay of factors, including soil type, elevation, and the presence of water sources. For example, in areas with deeper, more permeable soils, the roots of drought-tolerant trees are better able to access groundwater, giving them a significant advantage. Similarly, trees thriving along riverbanks are benefiting from the increased moisture availability associated with fluctuating water levels. The impact of this shift has cascading effects throughout the entire ecosystem. As the drought-resistant trees gain dominance in certain areas, they alter the composition of the forest, affecting the animals that rely on those trees for food and shelter. Seed dispersal patterns change, and the overall structure of the forest, its height, density, and diversity is altered. Some species that depend on specific, now scarce resources are experiencing population declines, while others benefit from the new availability of food and habitat. Interestingly, researchers are using satellite imagery and LiDAR data, a technology explored in a previous part, to meticulously track these range expansions. The before and after comparisons are revealing a pattern of subtle but significant changes in forest cover, confirming that the shifts are indeed occurring and quantifying the extent of the change. The detailed 3D mapping allows scientists to analyze the complex topography of the forest and identify areas where drought resistance is particularly pronounced. What's particularly concerning is that this adaptation isn't a guaranteed solution. The Amazon rainforest has a remarkable capacity to bounce back after disturbances, but the rate at which it can adapt to the rapid pace of climate change is uncertain. The shifts in tree distribution aren't necessarily a sign of a forest thriving. Instead, they represent a forest being forced to adapt, often at a significant cost to its biodiversity and overall health. Furthermore, the expansion of drought-resistant species isn't creating a healthy forest. While these trees can survive the immediate impacts of drought, they often have a lower capacity to support the complex interactions and nutrient cycles that characterize a truly vibrant rainforest. The loss of diversity, coupled with the altered ecological relationships, raises serious questions about the long-term resilience of the Amazon. Scientists are also investigating the role of genetic diversity within these drought-resistant species. Some populations exhibit a higher degree of genetic variation, suggesting a greater capacity for future adaptation. However, many populations are relatively homogeneous, raising concerns about their vulnerability to unforeseen environmental changes. Research into assisted migration, carefully relocating individuals or populations of drought-resistant trees to areas with more favorable conditions, is being considered as a potential strategy, but it remains a complex and controversial undertaking. The story of the Amazon's trees, in the face of climate change, is a story of survival, adaptation, and a profound warning. It highlights the delicate balance of this incredible ecosystem and the immense pressure it's under. It's a story that reminds us of our own responsibility to address the root causes of climate change and to support the ongoing efforts to conserve and protect this vital part of our planet. The air in the Amazon isn't just thick with humidity. It's also thick with the dedicated work of people trying to protect this incredible place. After decades of deforestation, driven by agriculture, logging, and mining, a remarkable wave of conservation efforts has begun to push back against the damage. It's not a simple fix, of course, but a complex, layered approach, combining governmental protections, the deep knowledge of local communities, and a constant stream of scientific investigation. One of the most visible tools in this effort is the creation of protected areas. These aren't just patches of forest. They're carefully designed zones with varying levels of restriction. The Brazilian government, for example, has established numerous national parks, like the Jata National Park, a vast area encompassing a colossal floodplain. Within these parks, activities like logging and large, scale agriculture are strictly prohibited. Rangers, often drawn from local communities, patrol the boundaries, monitoring for illegal activities and enforcing the rules. Similar initiatives are underway in neighboring countries, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, each tailoring protections to the specific ecological characteristics of its portion of the rainforest. These parks aren't always completely isolated. Some allow for sustainable tourism, providing economic benefits to local people while reinforcing the importance of preservation. The success of these parks depends on consistent funding and robust monitoring, constantly adapting to the challenges presented by human activity. However, simply establishing protected areas isn't enough. The true power of conservation lies in the involvement of the indigenous communities who have called the Amazon home for millennia. These groups hold an invaluable understanding of the forest, its rhythms, its secrets, and its vulnerabilities. Organizations like the Instituto Socioambiental, ISAV, are working to strengthen indigenous land rights, recognizing that when indigenous people control their territories, the rainforest thrives. This isn't just about granting access to land. It's about empowering these communities with the resources and legal support they need to manage their territories effectively. Many indigenous groups are leading the charge, utilizing their traditional knowledge to monitor forest health, combat illegal logging, and even promote sustainable farming practices. Their understanding of fire management, for example, is proving remarkably effective in preventing large-scale wildfires, a growing threat exacerbated by climate change. Alongside these community-based initiatives, a tremendous amount of scientific research is focused on understanding and mitigating the threats to the Amazon. Scientists aren't just observing the deforestation, they're delving into the intricate workings of the rainforest ecosystem. Research teams are studying the impact of climate change on tree species, as was partially explored in the previous segment. But this research goes much deeper. They're investigating the role of mycorrhizal fungi, the tiny, often unseen partners that form a symbiotic relationship with the tree roots, facilitating nutrient exchange in the resilience of the forest. They're also tracking the movement of animal populations, understanding how species are adapting to changing conditions, and assessing the effectiveness of different reforestation techniques. A particularly exciting area of research is focusing on green corridors, connecting fragmented patches of forest with strips of native vegetation. These corridors allow animals to move between habitats, boosting genetic diversity and increasing the overall resilience of the ecosystem. Scientists are experimenting with different planting strategies, utilizing native tree species and incorporating traditional indigenous knowledge about optimal forest regeneration. Sophisticated drones are being deployed to monitor the health of the forest canopy, detecting early signs of stress and disease. Data collected from these drones, combined with satellite imagery, provides a powerful tool for proactive forest management. Furthermore, research is revealing surprising complexities about the Amazon's carbon cycle. While the rainforest is often lauded as a carbon sink, absorbing more carbon dioxide than it produces, the full picture is nuanced. Scientists are investigating the long-term storage capacity of different forest types, identifying areas where carbon sequestration can be maximized. Understanding the delicate balance between decomposition rates and carbon uptake is crucial for developing effective strategies to combat climate change. The creation of the Amazon Biota Institute, a collaborative research effort involving scientists from Brazil, the United States, and other countries, represents a significant step in coordinating these research efforts. This institute is focused on understanding the biodiversity of the Amazon and developing innovative solutions for conservation. They're working on everything from developing drought resistant tree species to refining methods for monitoring forest health using artificial intelligence. It's important to remember that conservation in the Amazon isn't about locking up the forest and hoping for the best. It's about fostering a collaborative partnership between science, indigenous communities, and governments, creating a sustainable future for this vital ecosystem. The challenges are enormous and the work is ongoing, but the dedication and ingenuity of those involved offer a glimmer of hope for the future of the world's largest rainforest. Let the gentle echoes of the Amazon rainforest linger with you. If these stories help you rest, consider subscribing and sharing them with others who seek calm. As our journey through the heart of this ancient world concludes, allow your thoughts to drift, calm and unhurried, like the mist rising over the trees.